Honestly, it's time we ended the war on drugs, which is based all on racism and is entirely pointless, as people should be able to, adults should be able to choose to consume the drug of their choice, like we do alcohol, caffeine, and nicotine. But this is hilarious. Florida cop arrested on drugs.
Florida Highway Patrol trooper is facing charges after he was arrested by the FBI. Joshua Erie is accused of buying drugs from an undercover operative. He was taken in on charges of unlawful user or addict of controlled substances in possession of a firearm. News4JAX reporter Khalil Maycock joins us live in studio. Khalil, how did law enforcement find out about these accusations?
The criminal complaint states a person was arrested by Homeland Security in August of last year. In interviews with the FBI, that person said Erie was addicted to oxycodone and he knew who Erie was buying it from. This past Friday, Joshua Erie, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper, was arrested. He had 22 years on the job and back in 2009 was named Trooper of the Year. He was also on a DEA task force. Erie was taken in.
Whoa. DA task force and getting himself into drugs. Wow, that's pretty wild. I wonder how many other DA agents are drug users.
On charges of an unlawful user or addict of controlled substances in possession of a firearm. According to this criminal complaint, a cooperating defendant was arrested by Homeland Security of Investigations in August 2022. In interviews that person later had with the FBI, they volunteered information about Erie, saying he was addicted to oxycodone, and the defendant said Erie was buying the drugs from a confidential source for the DEA. The complaint confirms the source did work for the DEA in a restricted use, and Erie was the person's handler. It is believed Erie got addicted to oxy because of his back problems. He did have back surgery. The complaint reveals there were over.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. If that's the case of getting addicted because of back pain and having to use pain medication. I mean, with most pain medications, people become addicted because those drugs are addictive. But he honestly shouldn't be punished for, wanting to treat his back pain and becoming addicted to it. People on drugs should just get some counseling like they do in Portugal, where they decriminalized drugs like 15, 20 years ago now, and their nation has not imploded in fiery drug use. It's actually gone down.
4,500 text messages between Erie and the confidential source. In text from Erie to the source, he sends, "I take a lot of risks to get fired to help you, and you gave me $810 worth of pills." He also sends the 16 methadone and 10 rocks. The complaint explains that rocks means oxycodone pills. Also included in the complaint is a portion that discusses Erie and his firearms.
Anything that he's involved with at this point is going to require a second look.
Lauren Prater, an attorney not affiliated with this case, says Erie's actions are disappointing. She says what also could be getting a closer look after his arrest is his interactions with any of his former confidential sources.
Especially if the nature of their relationships helped in the investigation of other potential criminal defendants. If I were their defense attorney, I would be saying, look, let's look at how his relationship with these confidential sources may have been exploited.
And I did reach out to Erie.
Yeah, that is a good point. They will need to do an investigation on his other confidential sources and see what's going on. Well, he definitely should, go to jail. Maybe get some help. I mean, how many other cops are actually doing this, buying drugs, arresting people for drugs, and all the other kinds. Cops are committing crimes while arresting people for crimes, and it just shows, corruption upon corruption upon corruption.
Erie's attorney, but haven't heard anything back yet. News4JAX did get a statement from Erie's family. It says Josh acknowledges he needs help and will be checking himself into a rehab facility as soon as possible. Erie was also ordered not to have any contact with DEA or FHP employees. Scott?
Thank you, Khalil. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says one of its officers was arrested in St. Johns County for a DUI. The off-duty officer, Craig Susek, was stopped while speeding on US 1 North in his personal vehicle. A deputy from the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office had a DUI response unit do a sobriety test after he was pulled over. Susek has been administratively reassigned since the case is pending. He's been employed with JSO since 1999. This is the fourth employee arrest in JSO this year.
Wow, fourth JSO officer arrested? I wonder what for. I mean, the federal government definitely needs to do better investigations on these cops. Like, come on, FBI. How about you start investigating all these departments and seeing which cops are, committing crimes and which aren't, and removing those that are committing crimes so that there's, positions for better people to become cops